Pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first.
No pay yourself first? No pay yourself first? No? Hi, I'm Joe Macek, Portfolio Manager with IA Private Wealth. And in this video, we will go through a step-by-step process on how you as a parent can train your children to properly save, invest, and build wealth so that they can be financially sound in the future. Let's get into it. Being a parent of 4 wonderful children has been an incredible blessing. Every day my kids make me laugh, they challenge me, and of course, like many parents, I worry about them. You see, I love my kids more than anything. And the one thing I want to make sure of as their father is I want to do everything in my power to make sure that they learn to become self-sufficient. After all, I won't be around forever to take care of them, and I don't think I will be able to leave this world peacefully without having some sense of certainty that my kids are able to properly take care of themselves, especially financially. So I started on a simple yet powerful journey to take care of at least one set of tools my children would need in the future. A set of tools that they were not likely to learn in school, tools that they never taught me, and I wish they had. You see, from the time I was small, my parents instilled in me the value of going to school and getting an education that I would eventually need to be able to earn enough income to hopefully live a comfortable lifestyle. I kept hearing what many kids probably still hear today a lot. If you don't go to school, then you won't get good grades. And if you don't get good grades, well, you're not going to get into college. And then if you don't get into college, you won't get a good job. And if you don't get a good job, you're going to struggle for your entire life. I now realize my parents were saying this more because they were worried that I would not be able to become self-sufficient unless I had a solid foundation of education. I realized for them to have peace when they left, they would need to know that I was okay. For those out there that are watching this video that have heard this from your parents, I would suggest that this was what your parents were really worried about. You see, in my career as a portfolio manager, I've spoken with many people about their investments and money situations. And one story that I will share with you right now stood out and had a profound impact on me. You see, about 10 to 12 years ago, I was in touch with a potential client for a number of years, and we had built up a bit of a relationship. And I was hoping on this call we would finally be working together on his accounts. I called him up and we started talking when he told me pretty quickly that he was never going to deal with me. I was somewhat stunned by his response until he followed it up with the reason as to why he felt that way. You see, earlier that day, he had gone to the doctors and he had found out that he had a major heart condition that was fatal. He told me that he had about 12 months to live, and the doctor was going to put him on some sort of medication for the first 6 months to help him, but after that, the medication was not going to work. The doctors just didn't know why it stopped working, and eventually his lungs would fill up with fluid and he would pass away. I really didn't know what to say to him. After all, what do you say to a person that gets that type of news? Well, what he said next to me changed my life in the sense that I had a unique perspective into what this man was thinking about, knowing that his life was going to come to an end. He didn't talk about his returns or what stocks he owned or anything like that, but the next few sentences that he uttered definitely changed my life goals, and I instantly knew what was important. He said, "Joe, number one, I've left more than enough money for my wife and she will not have any issues paying her bills. Number two, all 3 of my kids are completely self-sufficient and they no longer need any help from us. And finally, I played with my grandkids while I still had my marbles. I can go in peace." These were the few things that were really important to him, and as a result became important to me. And you will notice that the second thing is what this video is all about: helping your kids to become completely self-sufficient. With that said, my parents had the right idea, and I know they wanted the best for me, but when we really examine what they taught me, I would suggest to you that they left out a massive part of the equation that invariably leads to financial independence. Now, I'm not suggesting that they left it out intentionally. After all, parents by and large would never hesitate to share all of their knowledge and do anything they could to help ensure their children do not struggle. I would say that many parents, including my own, would make the assumption that if you make more than enough money, eventually everything will take care of itself and you will be fine. I would also say this is why schools tend to focus on education education and higher learning and largely ignore the basic wealth building principles children need to learn to continue to be a success. When I add up all the time I spent in school, there was over 120 months of schooling and not 1 hour, not 1 minute of the curriculum was devoted in any way to teaching us how to properly build our net worth so that we could prosper. How to manage your finances and be able to build wealth simply isn't covered because, again, it's likely assumed that if you make enough money, you will be fine. Well, if you have watched any of the videos on my channel, I have given countless examples of many people who have made more than enough money for 10 lifetimes and are still not okay. You see, what this line of thinking does is it focuses on the income part of the equation and ignores the expense part. In order for any business to be profitable, income has to be there, but expenses must also be calculated. If expenses exceed income, it doesn't matter what your income is, eventually the business or you will go to zero. And the secret for any parent out there watching this is to instill in your child from a very young age that the most important expense that they must pay is themselves first. They must pay themselves first before any other bills or expenses are paid. If this rule, along with a few others, are followed with discipline, your child will build net worth and you will be able to help set them up to be financially free. I have another video that you can click on above that details my 10 financial laws that they should follow. But in this video, what I hope to do is provide you, the parent, with a step-by-step process that empowers you to teach your son or daughter the value of money management, paying themselves first, and how to easily and inexpensively set up your children with the proper accounts to get them started on their wealth building journey. Now, I should preface this with the disclaimer that I do not have all the answers, and how I'm doing it with my own children you may agree or disagree with. But I will share with you what I'm doing along with a few stories to ensure you get a very good idea of these lessons that they will learn, very important lessons for life. After all, we as parents try to be the best we can, but we all know raising kids can be a huge challenge, and we won't know what we've done right or wrong until years after they've grown up. I think this is a great time before we get any further into this video that I'd like to go through my usual disclaimer, which I have put in written form to save time, but the long and the short of it is, before you make any decisions surrounding your money based on any video you see on YouTube, please take the time to consult with a fully licensed professional or feel free to reach out to me on a one-on-one basis. The other thing you need to do is smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, as it really helps out my channel. And if you love my content and want to be kept in the loop with all of my latest videos, I would be thrilled if you would just hit that subscribe button and darken that notification bell. Okay, so now on to our process. Step 1, set up a separate kids bank account at your favorite bank for each child to receive their payments. Payments that they will receive from doing work around the house. Most banks have accounts that are free for children and that can be attached to your master accounts at the bank. Once they have earned money, it will be fairly easy to transfer those amounts into their own bank accounts for them to invest and spend as they see fit. Step 2, set up an in-trust for investment account, or also what's called an informal trust account, for your child at an investment firm or at your local bank. This is an investment account in your child's name that can be used to buy investments for them. A few things to note about in-trust for accounts. First, once the child becomes 18 years old, the account becomes completely theirs and you no longer have control over the account. And second, any interests or dividends that are paid into the account are taxed in the parent's name or your name, while capital gains accrue to the child. Be prepared to pay your child taxes should they earn interest or dividend income in the accounts. Step 3, hire your children to do jobs around the house and consider paying them per job rather than a set allowance. We set a price per job based on the time required, difficulty, and other factors. The more jobs they complete, the more they could make. If they do no work for that week, they make nothing. We wanted to instill in our children that if they did not work to earn their money, they would not be paid. And we felt that this approach had more of an entrepreneurial spirit attached to it. Step 4, inform your children of the very first and most important law, pay yourself first. Set a percentage of their income that they must allocate to their investments, for example, 20%. The rest they can spend on whatever they want. We use 20%, but I have seen families instill as high high as 50%. We use 20% because we want them to enjoy the bulk of the money that they have earned, but also make sure that they know that 20% will always be the number for the rest of their lives. Once you calculate that percentage, transfer it into their in-trust for accounts. Step 5. Once the money is in their in-trust for accounts, invest the money in a well-diversified ETF or mutual fund that will grow nicely. A nicely diversified ETF or fund will help protect against any company-specific risks and will grow nicely for them over time. Step 6. Review their investments with them when their statements come in. This is particularly a fun exercise, especially with Mila and Charlie, my youngest ones, as they love getting their own mail in the mail and learning that they have money invested for them. Now, obviously, Charlie doesn't really fully understand everything at 4 years old, and he would much rather be on his iPad or watching YouTube. But as he gets older, he will eventually get into the habit of working and paying himself first and building his own net worth for the rest of his life. Here's a couple of other important things. If your children spend their money on something you feel as a parent is foolish or a complete waste of money, let them. We make suggestions to our children as to how to effectively spend their money they earn, but in the end, if they choose to spend it all on Pokemon cards, like Annika does, or Robux, like Bennett does, let them. It's better that they make their mistakes now with smaller amounts of money today, rather than making those same mistakes with larger amounts of money later. One very cool thing that happened with Annika was she thought she would make me happy one week by taking her entire amount in her account and investing it. I told her once she invests it, she won't be able to touch the principal, as that's the second law. And if she wanted to buy something that week, she would not be able to until she earned more money. But she didn't listen to me and she went ahead and invested it all. Well, sure enough, 3 days later, she wanted to buy something and I told her that there was nothing in her bank account. She said she would pull it out of her investments. And I said, absolutely not. You can't, because once it's in your investments, you can't touch the principal. Unfortunately, she became very upset when she learned she had to make more money in order to fill up her bank account again. But she learned a very valuable lesson at a very young age in not leaving herself short. Since then, she has always made sure she has had extra money in her account just in case. This is a lesson that I was very proud for her to learn at 10 years old. I really hope this step-by-step video will help with you and your child's journey, and I would be very interested to hear what you think of the methods. So please feel free to leave a comment in the section below, along with any other cool ideas you might have. Comments are extremely good for the growth of the channel, and the YouTube algorithm loves them, so please help my channel by saying a few words down below. With all that said, I want to thank you at this time for tuning in to Investing Made Simple. Please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, as it really helps out my channel. And if you love my content and want to be kept in the loop with all of my newest videos, I'd be thrilled if you would just hit that subscribe button and darken that notification bell. Until next time, this is Joe Macek for Investing Made Simple. See you soon.